Hey folks, it's Sako Toomey, also known as Cass Voight, also known as half the duo that is Victoria Fun Rock. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. Today I'm reading from Year of the Witch. I'm skipping over some of the plants that she recommends planting because I don't live in a state where it's legal to grow some of the things that she wants us to grow. So, I don't live in California. That doesn't make sense for me to grow it here. On the opposite coast. Hello! Refilling coffee, then settling in to visit. Yay! Good to see you, Nicole. I appreciate your presence. My head is hot. My head is hot. Maybe I should put a pen in my hair. Or maybe I should just take it out of this braid. I got these groovy little hair ties in Agata's box this month. Get your coffee, be comfy. Wooka, 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 wooka. I spent the morning, so I got up at 7. Again, my cat keeps waking me up at 7 o'clock, which is better than 6 o'clock, which is what it used to be. And Stationery and Sunshine posted a thing where she's planning her 2021 Bujo. Oh, what page are we on? We're at the beginning of chapter 7, so that's page 80. Oh, I usually wait 5 minutes or so for people to realize that I'm live and whatnot. It'll be fine. So I'm fast drafting an anchor series for the next 3 years. And that's on top of everything else that I'm doing, the stuff that I'm doing for Morning, Katerina. Ooh, yeah. I had to turn around my thing. My desk. It's a lap desk that I keep on the floor. You can see my ring light that way. Which I got for dirt cheap on Wish, Amazon. I can't remember which. I think I ordered it on Wish, but it came in an Amazon box. But it's a really great ring light, and it's LEDs, and it's USB powered. So, and then I got this fancy schmancy microphone, and that is USB powered, of course. Hi, Christina. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. YouTube is lying to me because Nicole is here, Katerina is here, Christina is here, and it's telling me that there is only one person watching. So I know that is bull to the shit. So today we are talking about, I keep getting reversed, local elements and spirits. Just for arms. What does that mean to you, having furry arms? Is that a sign of masculinity? Is that like maybe you need to get in touch with your animal self, or what does that mean? What do furry arms signify in your brain? So we're about halfway through the book. Doing pretty good. All right. Oh, yay. The 1997 film Princess Mononoke by Hayao Miyazaki is one of the most impactful movies on the concept of local elements and land spirits that has ever been created. Were you getting cozy? I know, right? This epic fantasy focuses on the ongoing struggle between nature and human influence. If you haven't watched this film, take note, because now you have homework. I actually still haven't watched it. And which is funny because, yeah, it's a Miyazaki film, but Neil Gaiman wrote it. And they worked with Disney to get it syndicated in the US. Yeah. I know all the history regarding Princess Mononoke, but I don't know. I've never actually seen the movie. So maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll see if I can track down a copy of it. I also love Neil Gaiman. He send me a pic or the link to your character sheet when you're done. Done with, oh. We're running one-shots tonight with my gaming group. Watch party? I don't know if because it's Disney, I don't know if I can legally do that. Possible that it was something to do with animal instincts. It just felt weird, but not uncommon at the time. Like it was my regular life, but it isn't. Yeah, I know what you mean. Were you dismayed that you had furry arms? Or you're like, well, this is my life now. I live here now. You know what? What I can do is try to find. We can watch privately. I have Disney Plus. I have Disney Plus as well. Ooh, I don't know if Princess Mononoke is on Disney Plus. I was about to check. Damn it. This right here is like a YouTube stream that is live all the time. All the time. All the time. Can you do a watch party on whatchamahoosit on Disney Plus? I don't know how to do that. Yay! Look it up for me if you could. Princess Mononoke. They got a full star cast to voice. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't know how to do that from my PlayStation. And Nicole also has Disney Plus. So there is a chance that we might be able to watch Princess Mononoke's homework for elements and spirits. So maybe, because if it's not on Disney Plus, then we're basically up a creek, because I don't think there's a legal streaming service that offers it, unless it's like Crunchyroll or something like that. Yeah, it isn't on Disney Plus. I was more taken aback at first, and then I pet the furry arm and felt calm. Like, whoa, what's happening? And then, well, I guess it's not so bad. Which is a major metaphor for my life, I guess. Yeah, no kidding. So, where can I watch Princess Mononoke? HBO Max. Damn it. My husband is considering getting it, actually, but all the Studio Ghibli stuff, all the DC stuff, all the Warner Brothers stuff. Damn. And it's $12 on Amazon Prime. God damn it. It's $12 pretty much everywhere. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, Princess Mononoke used to be on Netflix, but it is no longer there. So it's on Amazon Prime. It's just not primed. It's pay only. Hi, Heather. Netflix is supposed to release them all as being Studio Ghibli movies. You can't even rent it on Amazon Prime. But it just told me that it was $12. HBO Max. Hi, Al. Oh, thank you. Yeah, she is a lion warrior. So she's got the hat and all of that stuff. I need to put water in it because the case is starting to warp. All the Ghibli stuff, yeah. Okay. All right. I highly recommend this film to all my students to better grasp the theory of local elements and spiritual empathy. Land spirits are not specific to any culture, any particular culture. Throughout history, every culture has held some type of belief relating to the spirits of the land and the creatures that inhabit it. Native American, Irish, Norse, Germanic tribes, Indian, Chinese, and Japanese all held land spirits in special esteem. $12 to buy, but $4 to rent? I'm gonna look real quick. I wonder if I actually own it. all the DVDs are like super mixed up. So I got Howl's Moving Castle. I got Tokyo Godfathers, which wasn't Ghibli, but it was really good. Grave of the Fireflies. My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah. Search. Manunoki. Buy it for $17. We got all the Ghibli stuff. Fuck me. God damn. The movie isn't available. I just purchased Red Out. Damn. Graveyards of the Fireflies. Oh, my computer. Yeah. If you heard of Fireflies devastated me as a teen. I used to have Plex. Oh, yeah. Oh, great. Ads. That's awesome. What is happening? Mute. Volume? What the fuck? Jesus H. Christ. I do not have Plex, so I don't suspect. Damn, $17. I would love to own a copy of it. I just don't have a copy of it. The line between what makes one entity a spirit of the land and another entity a god can be somewhat blurry. Land spirits can also be mistaken for mythological creatures such as fairies. Spirits of the land can be land gods and rule over the lands that they reside on, or they can be literal attachments to particular features in the land. There are forest spirits, lake and river spirits, plain spirits, rock and mountain spirits. As land becomes developed, the neighborhoods and cities gain spirits as well. Yeah. Just because a house is built on land doesn't mean the house isn't part of the living land anymore. Structures not only reside within the spirit of the land, but through through time, develop their own unique spirits as well. Boop. Understanding land and nature spirits. To understand land spirits, you need to first understand the land and the space you inhabit. What type of land was your property on before it was developed? Swamp. What types of nature reside there now? Deer, fox, coyote, bear, raccoon, possum, groundhogs. Um, those are all still things. How many trees are around you, and what is their general health? Lots of trees. They try to make it look like there are little patches of forest in the neighborhood. And there are oaks, I think. As you step outside, do you feel the spirits of nature flow around you freely, or do they feel stagnant and lazy? I live in a part of South Florida that was once part of the Everglades. Much of South Florida was drained and then built in, allowing for development further west. The natural spirits of the land I live on are swampy, yet have adapted to meet the growing urban culture. Additionally, Florida sits on top of a limestone platform. According to a University of Florida Department of Wildlife Ecology and Conservation article, during the last ice age, sea levels were much lower and exposed more of the Florida coastline. Much of the exposed land became savanna in nature, which is a grassy tropical or subtropical plain with few trees. This savanna is still seen today. Every land has its own unique history waiting to be uncovered. Researching the geological aspects of the lands that we live on allows us to better understand and connect with the spirits that reside there as well. All right. This little patch that I'm on used to be swamp. I know that much because the swamp is literally walking distance from my house. It's part of my neighborhood. And I like going there to hang out by the creeks that branch off of it. I actually made some witches' runes off of the stones, that the river stones, river slate, that cover the banks. Nature spirits have roles outside of human understanding and logic. They don't exist in such an obtrusive way that humans are aware of them, yet they work diligently nonetheless. Nature spirits and land spirits help protect the land and the creature that reside on it. So there is definitely a spirit in the swamp. It's very tragic. Like, it doesn't like what people have done to it. So it's like kind of angsty and not angsty, but paranoid of people. And I think they value that I come and I pick up trash, I move things around in such a way so that, it impacts the land a little less. Like if there is a tire in the creek, like I'll get the tire out of the goddamn creek. So they're not mad, they're just hurt. So they're very gun shy. They're like, please don't hurt me anymore. Please don't hurt me. When people talk about hauntings of new structures and even some older structures, what they are really dealing with is it's confused land spirits. Sometimes, a lot of times. When people build on land without acknowledging the other creatures, they displace not only plants and animals, but spirits as well. Sometimes these spirits stay on the land and try to rebuild and protect what they can. Sometimes these spirits are angry, lost, or confused. Lost, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There are definitely signs when it is like a house spirit, like Shinto. For instance, Marie Kondo is Shinto, right? So when she enters a house, before they start tearing things apart, she talks to the spirit of the house, and she invites the people whose house it is to join her. So she makes sure that the house is like willing to be purged, willing to be cleaned up, as it were. The same thing happens in older structures when new owners take over. A new owner might come into an older house and decide that the house is haunted when really the spirits that reside there are confused. These spirits may feel as though their space is being encroached upon by a person who didn't have the decency to introduce themselves and make their intentions known. Flowing with the harmony of the spirits that are already present can solve the issues of the land and structure disturbances nearly every time they come up. I noticed that the spirit of this house changed when my husband came into it and like de-hoarded it. I think it really values my husband and I. My mom not as much, but granted, every once in a while my husband will do something like punch a hole in a wall. And I don't know how the house feels about all of that. I haven't talked to the house in quite some time. Flowing with the harmony of the spirits that are already present can solve the issues of the land and structure disturbances nearly every time they come up. Right. Okay. Connecting with your land spirits. Working with and creating a relationship with land, nature, and structure spirits is a wholly intuitive practice. And understanding doesn't typically happen overnight, but when we work on strengthening our intuitive skills, it is something that can easily be accomplished by any witch, regardless of overall skill level. When I lived in Montana, one of my teachers told me that on every property there is one spirit in charge of balancing the rest. At the time, this was the spirit of a beautiful old weeping willow on the property between our garden and our house. This old tree stood watch over the property and kept all the various people, pets, plants, and spirits that inhabited it safe. I am certain that this tree took the negativity from some of the people on the property and filtered it back out in a way that could be managed. It was under the wisdom of this tree that I first became spiritually aware as an adult. I think so. There is a tree in my backyard that is half dead. Just half of it. And then the other half is fine. And my childhood in this house was very turbulent. I think that's a nice way of putting it. And I think that tree basically took the bad karma that was coming out of that house and basically, yeah, you get it. Killed off half the tree. I am certain that this tree took the negative, and filtered it in a way it could be managed. It was under the wisdom of this tree that I first became spiritually aware as an adult. In my current house, this spirit is actually a 300-pound limestone boulder. The garden around it teems with the beauty of life, flowers, and butterflies. The garden is stable and safe because the spirit of the boulder grounds it. The boulder spirit of my yard has helped protect me many times. During Hurricane Irma, the large oak tree above the roof of my room broke and collapsed, and instead of coming through the roof, the branch fell limb end first, scraping my window but leaving the structure in one piece. At the time, I could literally feel the energy of the protection radiating around my space. Every property has a primary guardian spirit, whether that is a tree, boulder, river, well, or any other element. Building a relationship with this spirit is the most important part of working with your local land spirits. Find your primary guardian spirit. When you are ready to begin building the relationship, step outdoors and sit in a way where your skin comes in direct contact with the natural ground. Close your eyes and visualize the property as if you were floating above it and looking down. See each element as it truly is, where the buildings meet the trees, where the sun and the shade hit the plants and soil, where there might be strength or sickness in the land itself. Open up your intuition as you are looking down. Can you identify the source of the primary land spirit? When you are able to identify the spirit of the land, introduce yourself. In your mind, visualize what the spirit might look like or sound like. Giving the spirit an association will allow you to build a relationship and connection with them. The more you honor and work with this entity, the stronger your bond will become. Land and ancestry. All witches have a place of origin. This place ties our living blood with the living land and spirit of a particular place. Our magic is more easily focused in these places and connects freely with the spirits of nature. Throughout the course of history, people have moved away from their lands either by choice or by force. Humans are flexible, adaptable, and forward-thinking. However, like plants, when we are separated from our roots, we begin to wither. Ha! I went out of this town. I have made a haven out of this, but no, What about you guys? How do you feel about the spirit of the land that you live on? Have you ever noticed the vibe of a house or the vibe of a yard? It got awfully quiet in here. That's why I'm asking. What do you guys think? I have a close connection with the land here. I suspect you do, being a cottage witch. Oh yeah, Hi Spence. The house I lived in before here had a really neat vibe. That's cool. It was a lot of work to change the vibe of this house to a place of love rather than a place of violence. I like the weather here, and the land is beautiful, and the house puffs itself up every time Chris's parents have improved or decluttered. It has made me love the place more. We've spent 12 years to undo the spiritual damage that has been done since the house was built. We have met all the owners before us, and whew, I used to hate it and think it needed to be leveled. Oh, the house? My house also puffs up whenever it gets an improvement. I need to move this stuff. Yeesh. It was built in 1832 and had been through over a dozen different hands, purposes, and functions. When we moved in it, it was drowning itself and its neglect. Wow. To give an idea of what the land here dealt with before us on a physical level. But I have roots in this town, but we aren't sure we'll stay. We are looking for our forever home, and it's all weird. I feel called to stay, but not sure how long for. When we started cleaning up the woods, we found a bunch of tires, an old swing set, and a buried car battery. Yeesh. We spent the first 3 weeks tearing up carpet and scrubbing plywood subflooring with salt and vinegar. We didn't have the money to replace the floors anywhere, so we sanded and painted the plywood. So you can imagine how well it was treated on a spiritual level. Yeah, no kidding. That's a lot of damage to, and that's the kind of damage that I'm talking about with the spirit of the estuary of the park that my housing development has. I'm in a similar boat. I haven't been back since before COVID. Mostly because the people at the park don't wear frickin' masks. Seriously, Nicole and Spence, Big Y'all's houses have been through it. Yeah. Yeah, that's really dark. But I never consider them broken. You know what I mean? Like, they can always be healed. It's a lot of work. Absolutely. But mine definitely has, and it's not even as old as Spence's, so I can imagine. Yeah. If I could be the one to clean up the yard, I think we could make progress. Drat, chronic illness. I have so little energy. Yeah. I know that feeling. There's a tree that's fallen in the woods near our house, and the cold months are coming, so I'm thinking of cleaning up the wood and grabbing the tree and making firewood out of it. Because, I mean, it's dead wood anyway, right? So my husband wants some help getting the tree over to the yard. Nothing is totally broken. It was a very tense house before. My friend's father died there after 10 years of slowly dying, abusing his family pets, neglecting getting neglected rather, while his mom did her best to keep it all together. Quill Cottage. Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot. Now I have an actual following of people on Instagram who just went to see our house. Yeah. My snuggle kitties. My snuggle kitties. Aww. Getting the trash out, scrubbing the animal pee smell out, making it a home again. It was a very lovely while we lived there. Yeah. I have a friend in Manassas who I hate going to his house. He's a good friend. He's like one of my best friends. But like his house, he lives with his parents, right? And the vibe of the house is so dark and claustrophobic, and just it sucks your soul out. And it's really hard to like explain that to him. Like the vibe of the house is horrendous. I just posted our living room and kitchen Christmas decor, and the Instagram is bumping. Yes. I want to get some land and invite people out for retreats, but I also like cities with public transit and medical MJ laws. Yeah. So MJ was decriminalized in DC. So there are all these loopholes regarding buying it. Basically what happens is they sell like a phone case or like some kind of trinket for $40. And then as a free side gift, you get a bag of weed. Right? So yeah, I'm kind of using this tactic as far as selling my hardback copies of Hope's Chest, which I'm about to go to print for. We named it the Warren because the way walking through there felt like walking through a rabbit warren. And there were always people coming in and out. We didn't lock any of the doors ever. Chris's parents keep the windows and curtains drawn so much I hate it. Luckily, the wife is buying shearer curtains. Yeah, going to print. I'm just polishing up the cover, and I'm gonna drop like $500 on hard copies. I usually name a place. I think I named this place The Woods. My husband renamed it the Vicious Circus, which is his studio name, but we also had a forge in the backyard. Cool. Made knives and did sword fights, flew a pirate flag in the front yard, and had a red garden by the side of the house. A tiny art. Who are you sending this to? Are you sending it to Spence or? I lived in a basement apartment that I called Till with Teg, which is like a subterranean castle. We were terrified the neighbors, and it was really some of the best life I lived there. Yeah. I think I'm in a place where I'm living my best life. I think I've basically been run out of the basement because I do this, right? So I've just been run out of the studio, which is tragic. Forge in the backyard? What? Coming into my own. That's really cool. I live in the basement of a split level, and I like that underground castle. Coming into my own. That's cool. Yeah, Till with Teg. My friends converted an old grill and a leaf blower into a legit forge. Interesting. We had at least 6 machetes while we lived there. It's funny. How far away from the end of this chapter are we? A few pages. Oh no, even less than that, 3 pages. I have 15 minutes. That's the house she used to live in. Remember, we lost Christina, yeah. She's been having internet problems lately. Oh, the topic of ancestor work, right? Yeah. The topic of ancestor work often sparks questions for people who do not know where they came from. Not everyone is blessed to come from a line of people who definitively knew who they were and where they were originated. While some people have a family Bible passed down through generations, keeping track of who came when, others have just heard things of mouth Others have just heard word of mouth things such as, I think your grandmother came from X. This tends to be primarily an American problem. People have immigrated all over the globe from various places, but no place is as much of a melting pot as modern-day America. For those who don't know where their family comes from, it's easy to claim I'm an American. But what is an American really? A blend of cultures, a dark history built on the backs of other cultures? Is it perhaps a more modern interpretation of immigrants choosing to come over in recent years? As modern technology has advanced, genetic tests like those by National Geographic and Ancestry.com have offered a solution. Using these tests is as simple as paying for them, sending in some DNA, and waiting for your test results. Even growing up fortunate enough to know exactly where my blood comes from, I decided to take an ancestry DNA test a few years ago. In my experience, the test was completely accurate, giving me the exact results I was expecting, but specifying how much of what came from where. I feel like I'm so close to the life I'm supposed to have. I know living here is a barrier to that life. Ooh. I'm so hopeful about moving plans and so terrified at the same time. Absolutely. Getting to know a new house is always scary. It should be noted that taking a DNA test and learning where your 1 to 5% of anything doesn't give a person free rein to appropriate that culture or those people. For ancestry that ranges from 1 to 5%, that would mean the ancestor was most likely between 6 and 8 generations away from you today. The energy of that culture is in your blood, but it is not the dominant factor in your current ancestry. These cultures should be treated with respect and reverence as you build a connection over time. In my own ancestry, there is over 70% Irish, Scottish, and Welsh, with 2% Spanish. I'm not sure when this occurred in my tree, but I feel fairly confident in the assumption that I am not, in fact, Spanish at all, but that somehow that small piece was related to the Gauls, who were Celtic people. I'm sure this. Wait. I'm very Scottish. Yeah, no kidding. Big surprise. Yeah. Over the years, ancestor magic has become bigger and bigger in witchcraft community. I rely heavily on my ancestors in my personal craft. Ancestor magic is more than just connecting to your ancestors. It is connecting to the spirit of yourself, your blood, the energy of your physical body, and the land. What this means is that it's not simply your ancestors, but everything that envelops them. Someone who has Irish ancestry is going to have a different connection to the land than someone with Native American ancestry or Russian ancestry. These ancestors connected to the land and local spirits in a way that connects our blood to the same land and those same local spirits. It's important to recognize where you are and where you came from when working with your ancestors and their magic. Sometimes it might feel a little silly if you aren't sure of pronunciation, but it is a good practice to incorporate the native tongue of your ancestors into your magic when working with them. Your ancestors will recognize your spirit and your intent, but they will always have an easier time relating to what was familiar to them. Does that mean that speaking in English to my ancestors is like messed up? I should speak German instead. Oh, Christina is here and learning while doing chores. Aha. We haven't lost Christina. Christina just wasn't commenting, that's all. Over the years, ancestor magic has become bigger and bigger in witchcraft community. Well, Samhain, Day of the Dead, all of that. I rely heavily on my ancestors and my personal craft. Ancestor magic is more than just connecting to your ancestors. I just read this. Let me try that again. Someone who has Irish ancestry is going to have a different connection, yada, yada, yada. Sometimes it might feel a little silly if you aren't sure of pronunciation, but they will always have an easier time relating to what was familiar to them. Right, got it. This is not to say you have to learn a foreign language to perform this kind of magic, but you can pick up a few words here and there and incorporate them into your spells and rituals. The modern Irish language is such a mix of different cultures that I'm sure my ancient ancestors wouldn't really understand it. But what I can do for them is incorporate some of the gods that they knew, some of the written language and the music of the land. I can also include the land, the dirt, the trees, the water, the essence of the land that they inhabited when they were here. That is a level of privilege that should be checked. Like, for real. I think it means they'll smile and pinch your cheeks at how cute you are while speaking German. Yeah, no kidding. I love you, fabulous souls, and this seems like a very solid subject I can take a note from. So commenting my silly commentary seems inappropriate for my learning process. Oh, maybe greet your ancestors in German. Yeah, right on. It depends on which ancestors I'm talking to, I think. Okay, so here's the problem that I have. I work with a Shinto god. And in working with a Shinto god, I think I'm doing my ancestors injustice because I'm third generation Buddhist, but not Shinto Buddhist. They are Nichiren Buddhist, which was illegal in Japan for many, many years. And so there are members of my family that really put their lives on the line to practice their sect of Buddhism. And like, am I doing them injustice by working with Benzaiten, who's like a luck goddess in Shinto mythology? You are following your path and healing old wounds even. There's a lot about Benzaiten that I really commiserate with and really understand, but she is also the representation of a pantheon that basically would have my family put in jail and basically die there. So, like, that's a little something that I want you to be your best self. I don't think they think of Benzaiten as my best self. Make sure you shout. Germans love shouting. It's funny. Bridging the gap between what? Between Shinto and Nichiren? Yeah, I don't know about that. Connecting this piece to our magic is especially important for Americans who do not claim a Native American ancestry, which is the majority of us. Your ancestors are not going to have the same connection to this land as they would if they were Native. Going back to the roots of our culture, even if we were not raised with these roots, we can help create a spiritual depth and bond between our spirit and our flesh. Learning about and participating in the traditions of your ancestral heritage will strengthen the connection for your ancestral and blood magic. So I started somewhat recently. Of course, I put them away. Somewhat recently, I started working with Karen Noonan and or Sarah Noonan. Yeah, no, Karen Noonan. And I did a lot of homework to see if it was a ancestral god that I could work with. And turns out it is, like super is. We were Celts, Germanic Celts. I don't think I'm bridging the gap. I feel like I'm spitting in the faces of my predecessors. It would be different if, like, the circumstances regarding the legality of religion were different in Japan, right? So think about this for my fiction as well, Spence. I think about this stuff a lot, mostly for my fiction, but I'm using my fiction to discuss these kinds of issues because they're so close to me. So then we go into blood magic. Right. Blood magic is one of those things that has been closely guarded by those who practice it and shunned by those in the witchcraft community who do not understand it. If someone were to mention blood magic, you might think of sacrifice or sex magic, but I promise this is not all it is. Blood magic both invokes and evokes the bond between the heavens and the earth, where spirit meets flesh. It is our most primal form of magic and our most powerful tool. You can always thank them for their lives, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Which is usually what I do, like, come Samhain, is I value their lives. My family lived in my hometown for generations. Both my parents can point at over a dozen houses and say, my great-grandma lived there, my auntie lived there. I can tell it matters to them. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm an Army brat, so this, like, we're not from Virginia. Like, we moved into this house when I was in 5th grade. Strangers live there now, yeah. Blood is the sustainer, yada yada. Blood is the sustainer of all life and the creator of death. Is it? While blood doesn't actually create death, it understands the duality better than any other piece of our physical body. Remember, you are not just a body, but a spirit within a body. After this life is over, what will you have to show for it? Our blood is a sacred source of magic. We are unable to exist without it, and problems in our blood cause decay of the physical, mental, and spiritual bodies we own as well. While we are in the flesh, our spirit is joined with our physical body. It is necessary to take care of each element of life in order to freely work with the magic harnessed within our DNA. I've heard over and over again through the years that blood magic is dangerous or evil. I don't think anything that comes from our own bodies can be inherently evil. I am also not of the opinion that the use of my blood makes me any more vulnerable for a spiritual or psychic attack. If that were the case, I would have to be concerned about the amount of hair I am constantly shedding or coughing and sneezing during a ritual. While I feel as though I use blood magic a little more liberally than many modern witches in regular practice, I had the unique experience to dedicate myself to my God in a place of spiritual significance recently. I was in Ireland with my partner for a wedding, and our route to the venue took us through my family's ancestral lands. The second we crossed into that territory, I could feel the energy within myself begin to shift. This was the first time I decided to dedicate myself in blood to my calling as a witch. It is 11 o'clock. We can continue talking about blood magic tomorrow. I can't feel the joy of having roots here. It feels like I'm being strangled sometimes. Amen. That. My city traps people in it. Thank you all for joining me this morning. I'm going to try and get some work done, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.